here's another League of Legends game coming your way, this time with Skarner in the jungle in the form of a post-game commentary. So, right off the bat, you may have noticed, yes, we have a Yasuo. So, you can probably guess how this is going to go. The stat I usually throw around, yes, it's completely made up, but it's like 1 out of every 10 Yasuos actually know what they're doing. If you notice, this one actually has the Mastery 7, so maybe, just maybe, this one knows what he's doing? But otherwise, for the whole team comp, we have Yasuo top into their Gnar, I'm Skarner in the jungle against Olaf, we have Fizz mid into Zed, and then Jhin Malphite bot into Vayne Thresh. So on one hand you'd say, yeah, that's a pretty heavy AD team comp. But Gnar does magic damage with his W, Olaf's E is true damage, Vayne's W is true damage, so they can kind of bypass that. But as a result, I am going to be going very, very heavy in terms of armor here. Worth pointing out, the Olaf is running Predator. I try to ping that out to my team. I think Yasuo does ignore it, and it costs him a bit. But otherwise, we only have 2 sources of knockups, not counting Yasuo himself, I guess. We have the Fizz with his ult, and then the Malphite with his ult. So not ideal, but luckily those are AoE, so we might be able to get multiple people, but not guaranteed. In case you're wondering, I don't have my customs enabled, so you don't get to see Yasuo in his Blue Lantern form here. Would have been nice if I did, since I don't know if his, well, how long his is even going to last. In case you're wondering, I'll play him on the tree line, just not on Summoner's Rift. So if I want to show the Blue Lantern Yasuo and the Red Lantern Tryndamere, I probably need to hit up the tree line. Anyway, as for what I'm running, it should be the exact same page as the previous game. Aftershock, Bone Plating, Conditioning, Overgrowth, and then Ultimate Hat and Celerity.
We await our time.
Otherwise, the goal here is to pretty much do a lot of the stuff you saw in the previous game, but the thing is, we have a team comp who isn't going to fold like origami, so it'll be a longer game, right? So one thing I didn't talk about in the last game, about the whole gank potential thing, just because they all folded. For this one, the mid lane is extremely difficult to gank because of the way Zed works. Fizz doesn't understand this, and he's going to cry in chat, and I will end up muting him, so just a heads up. Basically, if he does not land his fish, I'm wasting my time in that lane.
The crystal scar.
Now, as for top lane, Yasuo can wind wall the Gnar Boomerang, which is really devastating early. They actually have comparable cooldowns. The wind wall is a little bit longer than the Boomerang, but still, just taking it out of the picture for the 20-second window or whatever, really rough on the poor Yordle. That's going to be even worse because I can actually hold him down so Yasuo can land his CC, the knockup guaranteed, or just sit there and cut into him. Now, one thing I do need to talk about is Conqueror, since people are taking it on ranged characters and not really understanding it. So it's similar to Grasp of the Undying, where you have to be in combat for a period of time in order for it to trigger, and then once you have your stacks, go ahead and auto-attack a champion, and then it'll give you AD and true damage. Now the thing is, for a ranged character, they only get it for a couple seconds. For a melee character, they get it until they stop swinging. And if you didn't notice, Yasuo is running it. So don't worry, mid is a crazy lane. So as I was saying about Yasuo, when we get to these crazy fights, he'll get that up, and then he's just going to lay waste. Yasuo in general is just really, really strong with Conquer, and this guy is going to show you why. Now as for bot lane, their AD carry killed ours, our support killed theirs. Unfortunately, that means their AD carry is free to kill our support, and they come out pretty far ahead. So overall, the entire enemy team is in a really good position, just because mid lane got first blood, AD carry got 2 kills. The only thing that could possibly salvage this would be if we ambush Olaf here. So he decides to ward a little too late, and unfortunately I chicken out because I could have flashed and Q'd him, auto'd him, or something, and we would have gotten him. Now keep in mind this is warded, so they know I walked away.
This world is
Thing is, we did force him out. That's the important thing. As for mid lane, this is starting to swing back in Fizz's favor. Don't worry, once Zed gets his Hex Drinker, he'll swing back into his, which is something that I constantly moan about. When the Zed is on the enemy team and I have an AP mid, first item they go is the Hex Drinker. This guy actually isn't, but he got the MR component at the very least. And once he has that, it's very difficult for Fizz to do much of anything in that lane. So basically I just sucker punched him. That's all it really comes down to. I took his chicken, so he's not getting that going for him at the very least. And poor Gnar, he only sees me now. So yes, I made sure to give that over to Yasuo. I'll take the ward. And that's a wrap, folks. Time to go back to base. So I'm dropping that there in case Olaf tries to come up the river. If you notice, the point was taken, which means he was probably following behind me. It's just he was too slow. So in the previous game, this is where I got my Cinder and boots. This time I don't have enough for boots, so I go for a pink ward. Cinder is like the highest priority item I'd recommend at the moment, just because it's going to speed up your clear. For the the one camp, the golem camp, that you take outside of your spires, it makes it a lot more tolerable. But all the others can be fought inside the spires. You see me demonstrate now and then. Sapphire, I don't see Riot redesigning this part of the jungle anytime soon, so this is just the oddity in the whole thing. So generally on Skarner I want to hit level 6 so I have my Impale going for me. It's just, in both the previous game and this one, the top laner did some random weird crap and I punished them. That's all it comes down to. So Olaf took the big chicken, and right there his predator was attracted to me.
time to fight.
And keep in mind for the chicken camp, the way it's set up is the small ones are pretty valuable, so the fact that he didn't get those means that he didn't nearly get as much out of the counter jungling as I did.
The crystal scar is weeping.
But anyway, in terms of matchups, Fizz is rushing the Hourglass, which is what you should do when you're going up against a Zed. There was an old Victor game I posted. Sadly, it's not entirely relevant now because so many of the runes have changed. But getting rushing the Hourglass is really, really strong against Zed. So right here I wanted to get the machete just so I got a little bit of extra attack speed, but also the on-hit damage. It's gonna speed up my clear a little bit. Just I want to make sure I got the boots so that I could actually run in and grab someone once I have Impale. Now, if I remember correctly, here's where I get robbed. So the one thing is, once I kill this, I'll have level 6. And I'm short. So yeah, right here I'm looking for something else that I could take that might be convenient. Scuttle Crab sadly isn't really worth a lot of EXP, he's worth more gold than anything. One thing to point out is the crab itself does not have, well, Olaf doesn't have any CC to stop the crab, so that he can't lower its defenses. He basically has to rely on an ally like a Thrushhook or a Vayne Condemned to get that done here. And yeah, as a result, that crab is not an easy take for him. So right here I'm hoping I can catch Zed. But he was not window shopping, sadly. And yes, that fell just barely short.
The battle approaches.
So you can see that it was warded, it's just... Thresh made an interesting choice there. If not for the Vain Condemn, him pulling me in actually would have killed him. Basically, I'd impale him and be done with him. Still, we get to take out his pink ward. I can look for Zed, I can go for the Scuttle Crab. I have options. Thing is, this is where the lane is going to start swinging back in Zed's favor. Right here, Yasuo pinged for help, so here I come. So right here I need to get him a little close to Yasuo, but not close enough to get CC'd. So here we go. Remember that Conqueror is live. He is dealing true damage to everyone he hits. He has bonus AD. And Triumph OP, guys. If you didn't see, when the first guy went down, that caused him to get healed, so he had enough health to take down the second guy. When he went down, that healed him so that he had enough to finish off the last guy, and now he has enough to go clear out the lane. Granted, I did help him with CC and absorbing a couple things. I mean, you don't really stop a Gnar Boomerang or a Olaf Axe. Or a Zed Shuriken, now that I think about it. So yeah, I actually don't block anything with my body. It's all his Wind Wall, I guess, for those things. One cool thing, though, is the Cinder was burning them as I stood close to them, so while I was spamming Q and everything, it was slowly chipping away at them. But that's just a testament to how overpowered Conqueror is, folks. And right there you got to see the fun of the Zed Fizz matchup. You can use Deathmark to dodge the Fizz ult, you can use Zhonya's to dodge the Zed ult. Granted, you could even use the Playful Trickster to dodge the Zed ult also. So, you have options. So right here I'm waiting for the Olaf ult to expire. And yeah, I wanted to pull him in, but not quite. It's also a little painful that my E didn't connect, but luckily the Thresh kind of dragged him back to his doom. All he really had to do was just keep walking, and then he could possibly suicide the tower. If he tried to cut over by the red buff, I'd hit the Spire and get my movement speed, and then I'd run him down. But if he just went straight to the mid lane towers, he probably actually could have escaped me to commit suicide. Thing is, he'd have to wait for me to launch my E and miss. He'd have to ideally sidestep it, and then he'd have to throw his Q behind him to slow me. But yes, it was possible for him to get an execute there. But instead, he had to take the Thresh Lantern. So generally when I take this, it's so I have an escape route when I go for the dragon itself. It's just, I would like to have the Sheen when I go in there because that speeds up your clear immensely. Granted, it also gives you vision too. You can't ever underestimate that part. It's not the most elegant of flashes. Luckily we did get his in return. Once my E connected, that means the Jin W would have rooted him in place, and then he gets kidnapped. And he does not want that. So right there is a 10 out of 10 fizzle. If I know any better, I'd say he fizzled. But yeah. We both flash at the same time, which is a little disappointing. And the thing is, if I can hold him down, even without his ult, Fizz should be able to kill him. Olaf kills Jin.
An ally has
And then Bane kills Malphite. They live, sadly.
We think alike, Summoner.
So one thing to talk about is, in the newest patch, Ahri and LeBlanc got buffed, or you can even call LeBlanc a revert. As a result, that's why Mal's is the next game, if you haven't seen the previous video where I admit that. Basically, with all these really, really mobile characters becoming popular again, you need the point-and-click ult of Malzahar. His other stuff may be kind of sucky, but yeah. So right there you get a solo kill on Olaf. Right here, Malphite's point out that their entire team is running refillables. If you get the refillable potion early enough, it's actually worth it.
My stinger is ready.
Like, a lot of people give the whole stupid stat, if you recall this many times, it pays for itself, yada yada yada. The thing is, why you want it early is because it's a fixed amount. It always gives you the same amount of health back. So it's most effective at level 1. And basically, every time you level up, it gives you technically less health back when you look at the percentages. It gets less effective as the game goes on. Like, it would be one thing if the corrupting potion gave you a percentage back or something like that. It's just... the way the game is, the potion just becomes obsolete. Now, in case you're wondering, I do not want to fight top without this blue buff. This is pretty much all my CDR. Helps if you kill the thing.
The crystal.
So right there, I wasn't sure if Zed was going to follow me up here, and if he was trying to, I wanted to cut him off. And he's kind of what I'm looking for. He's the only one on their team that I'm a little bit worried about. Olaf is going to flame the hell out of Vayne because she doesn't buy a QSS at all during the game, but if you pay attention, I think I only ult her like once or twice. I doubt it's even twice, to be honest. So once again, Fizz fizzles.
I miss my kind.
And then once I have the domain, I want to take the Scuttle Crab. That way, if they go for the dragon, I can at least keep vision on them. Sadly, I'm not going to be able to make any steals since I don't have flash, but maybe we can catch from behind and get a guy or something. Olaf is really obsessed with the capture points, if you ever notice. I'm suspecting he may not be familiar with Skarner, so he doesn't know the importance of those, because he rates them too high. What's worse is if you're not careful when you're actually trying to take them, you just telegraph your position. Anyone who's paying attention to the minimap will say, okay, that's where the jungler is. Found him, guys. And then one thing to get in the habit of that Olaf is not doing, farm when there's nothing to be had on the field. Another 10 out of 10 fizzled. Thing is, all the living shadows have expired, so I can kill him here. But yeah, as I was trying to say, farming your jungle is pretty important, and it's really nice to do that during downtime between ganks. If you do that, even if you don't get any kills or anything, you still remain somewhat relevant. Olaf is not doing that, and as a result he's going to get weaker and weaker and weaker until the point where, yes, he can charge at us and not be CC'd, but he's going to die before he reaches anyone. So, who cares? Now, I don't know if he actually had the movement speed nerf as of this patch, so he might not have that, but Olaf was becoming somewhat of a popular jungler for the Ragnarok movement speed boost. Combine that with the Predator boost, and he could sometimes blindside AD carries who were not expecting to move that fast.
My stinger is ready.
So right here, if you notice, Zed is up here. As a result, I'm thinking, okay, I can get the dragon. And Cloud Dragon is really good to get on Skarner, especially after they made the changes. So it gives you flat out of combat movement speed that triples when, or you get flat in combat movement speed that triples out of combat. So even if they have something to slow you with the, like, Olaf Hammer, stuff like that, well, for one, you're able to dodge it somewhat. So notice I smited Olaf. He's the one I'm aiming for here. Okay, I stopped talking because I was trying to see what I typed. Blue for Fizz, and right here I'm thinking, okay, blue for Zed. Luckily, Yasuo was here to cut off his escape under tower. Right there I slowed him, so Yas and I can jump on him. And then I have blue in the end. And the best thing to go with the blue would be a red. But then again, I guess when we were talking about the whole farming thing, I kind of do steal a lot from Olaf. I mean, I can't entirely fault him for not farming if I'm robbing him blind. It's just he made a lot of bad choices leading up to this point, and as a result, he's suffering for them. So you have to remember that all the money is in the cannon minion these days. Make sure you get that one. The small fry are literally small fry. Just need to remember to go into detail about this on Mal's. Part of the reason why I chose him, other than the whole point-and-click suppression, is I can talk a lot about the changes that involve the mid lane. Anyway, that Vayne is becoming a bit of a problem. Case in point. And now I don't remember, did I flash here or no? No, it's just that Condemn saved them. At least one of them would have died if she didn't Condemn. And I always had the option to flash on top of her too, so there was that. Next Dragon's Infernal. We definitely want to get that one, because if you think Vayne's bad enough late game already, just wait until you see her boosted by some dragons.
We think alike, summoner.
So this is the heartbreaking fight. If I landed that E, I think I would have killed her. Instead, I'm waiting for her to try to reclaim the point, and I wanted to get her then, but... Here comes Thresh. So he's pulling me now because she's here. There she is. So yeah, I flashed to set up her Condemn, sadly. Even still, you can see she took quite a bit of damage when the two of us went at it, since she's squishy and I have a Trinity. It's just, if you know, she has IE and Shiv already. You may say, but Hero, you have Trinity, Deadman's, and your Cinderhulk. Yeah, but my stuff's considerably cheaper than hers. So right here, try to ping him that, hey, you're getting flanked, run, fool, run. Kinda wish I told him, yeah, you're running the wrong way, buddy, but yeah. So I want a Ninja Tabby next, and then a Thornmail. The Thornmail is particularly devastating because I can kill Olaf very, very easily afterwards. If you don't know how Olaf works, hey, it's snowing outside in April. I think that's why the dogs are barking, in case you're wondering. It just started. But anyway, going back to Olaf. His attack speed goes up as his health goes down, which is the key to his clear and everything. And the trade-off to this is his W gives him lifesteal. So by having Thornmail, you inflict grievous wounds, he does not get the lifesteal from his W, and then when the two of us just sit there and start slugging at one another, he's gonna die. Horribly. He will have the true damage on his E to kind of go in his favor, it's just not gonna be anywhere near enough. And what's worse is I think I actually do go for... oh no, right. Yeah, every single item I build gives me health. So as I was saying, next is going to be the Ninja Tabby, then the Thornmail, and lastly is Righteous Glory. I had to remember for a moment that it's not quite like the Frozen Heart, where it just gives you mana and stuff, but it does give you the health because of the Ruby Crystal and Crystalline Bracer that build into it. So right here, I was thinking my team was actually going to loop around and do stuff. You can see Fizz kind of botch stuff, and no one else is really here. Jin died right off the bat due to Zed. And here's kind of where I started to lose faith in the team. Like, the Yasuo takes a good amount of time before he actually does start traveling with us, so even though he was doing really good in terms of like the 1v1 at early game, if he's not going to bring that to the team fights and he's not going to be able to successfully split push, all of that lead is meaningless. So you have to remember Tabby costs 800, and I don't have any more inventory space unless I part with the potion. And I generally don't like to do that until I have some form of health regen. In this game, it will be coming from the Righteous Glory, though. So right here, Fizz is saying, why don't you gank for me more? And I try to tell him, Zed just W's away if I show up. So if he does not land his fish, there's literally nothing I can do. Like, I've made a point in this video to call out all the times he missed, which is like every time but 2. And that's it. I mean, if he can't supply the initial CC for Zed or force him to burn Living Shadows somehow, there's nothing I can do for him. So right there, Living Shadow was burned. And I was hoping someone would kill him, which is why I wasn't actually trying to hit him myself, but he's gonna live with like 100 hit points. Now, if you're wondering what's different from before, why we're actually making some inroads, since the Olaf kill doesn't really give you much, it's that Yasuo is traveling with us. He has his Frozen Mallet, he has the Phantom Dancer, and he has 2 of the 3 components for his Infinity Edge. Once he gets the IE, he's going to shred them. You have to remember he's going to be dealing true damage plus his 100% crit rate. And he just got the IE. And now here, like, I'm always in a bit of a dilemma. Do I want to give this to Fizz? Like, one thing I'm hoping for, like, why I'm willing to give it to him is it will give him CDR. And hopefully after he misses the first fish and the fight breaks out, he'll get a second fish and he can land that one at a closer range. Like, it's pretty pessimistic sounding, but it's the reality of the situation, I'm afraid. So right here, by taking this, we get some guaranteed vision on the Baron anyway. Gnar is top lane. You can see that this is heartbreaking, because I think Bane gets away with like 100 hit points. So notice he lands the fish in the fight that we can't do anything. He arrived too late, Jin died. And just due to the way the lane played out, I mean, Zed's pretty much only target to focus is Jin. Fizz is harmless, he can't land the fish to save his life. So if he can just keep on taking Jin out of the fight, we are going to be in a bad spot. But anyway, now we have the Bramble Vest, and as I was saying, that will inflict grievous wounds, that will stop the Olaf sustain, so if the two of us fight, he can't win. I'm equally as tanky as him, I attack faster, and I have a Sheen. My skills are much more spammable than his. Yeah. Not to mention, since I have a nice bit of armor, I think I have like 300 at the end. His normal attacks just don't do too much to me. So this is what I meant by, if we have the Yasuo with us, we're gonna win. It's worth pointing out the carries are all dead for the most part. You could argue, well, Nar's up, but I wouldn't classify him as a carry for it. So right here I have to tank this for Yasuo since he will die if I don't. And like I was saying, I have a crapload of armor. That tower does not do too much to me. So real quick, something I have to point out. I get 20% CDR from the Trinity, and the Righteous Glory will give me another 10. Then if I have the blue buff, that will put me at 40, and I can keep my shield up almost indefinitely. One thing that does kind of suck is the new Aurelia is kind of good at popping his exoskeleton. I don't think you really got to see that in the previous game. It's just a new mechanic that they're putting in. I imagine just like Grounded, one or two characters will have it, and then all the other guys who should, don't. So there you go, he lands a fish. Now Vayne, have to take her out since she was real close. She doesn't have the QSS like I was saying, and basically I attribute this fight being won just due to how the Zed burned his stuff on Fizz. It wasn't more the Vayne catch, it's just Zed used his ult on our most expendable guy. So with that, we took out Vayne, we took out Olaf, while the team took out Thresh and Gnar. The only one up is the Zed. And basically I just wanted to get a couple shots in on there. I can afford to do that due to the exoskeleton and everything. And my ult is up, so if Zed shows up, I can suppress him and he's not going anywhere. So right there, Fizz is generating a little bit of pressure. He might have served as a decoy so that they weren't expecting this. That's best case scenario. Probably give him a little bit more credit than he deserves. I mean, he did pull Zed down there from the minimap. And let's face it, we all knew that was no. So right here we're making a line for the Infernal. Now, unfortunately, my smite does not come up in time. The Fizz rages about this, but if you look, there's still a good amount of time on that. Or it might be Yasuo who says something, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, it was Fizz. Can't really say I'm surprised. The guy has done nothing but cry all game, and a lot of it's his own damn fault. But anyway, with the Glacial Shroud, that puts me at 30% CDR, so whenever I get the blue buff, it will go up to 40. But if you notice, my armor right now is sitting at 300. I think you get a little bit more, like 20 extra armor for finishing the Righteous Glory. It's just, we are looking to close out the game right here. And I do want to give that to Yasuo because he can make a lot more use out of it than I can. He probably is our best user of it, of the entire team. So right here I suppress the Gnar, and I drag him into the Zed. So the Fizz ult did connect to him, but if you're wondering why Gnar, he has their CC. Everyone other than the Gnar is conditional CC at best. Thresh does have to land his hook, and Flay is short range, Vayne is condemned. So with him gone, there's nothing to stop us. You have to remember characters like Fizz and Yasuo, their biggest weakness is CC. So right there, Vayne is going on Jhin. We have to turn and go on her. There you go. Another win on Skarner. So next up is Mel's, and that will be it for the weekend. So you get to see the graphs and everything. I think I end up giving the honor to the Yasuo, which is something that happens extremely rarely, as you might imagine. S plus. And there you can see the graphs. I was surprised I actually was number 2 for damage, since other than the Triforce I was going tanky. You got to see I just tried to skirmish and it paid off, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.